collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Voyager class rescue bot Heatwave from the Transformers Age of the Primes line from Hasbro. So this is my first pickup for Wave 2 of Age of the Primes. Got here today from Amazon. I pre-ordered it a while ago. Excited to check this guy out. This is our third overall rescue bot character to make it into this line. Though I guess technically this is the first for Age of the Primes, but, you know, in recent releases, I should say. But packaging here, the plastic window is here. We have some nice artwork of the robot mode and the vehicle mode here on the front. Nice close-up of that robot mode there on the side. And then over here we have our, section of all the Prime statues going around, which I think is kind of cool. Not too much going on the bottom. Up here just says Rescue Bot Heatwave, and spinning around to the back, we have some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. You can kind of tell that this guy is a partial retool of Bulkhead from back in Legacy, which is, I guess, 3.5 years ago at this point. But I think it makes sense. I still think this guy's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited to check him out. I'm going to get him out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Heatwave out of the packaging. He's not bad. I mean, he's a pretty extensive reuse of Bulkhead. Not really that much is different as far as I can tell. I don't have Bulkhead handy, unfortunately, to directly compare them. But I feel like, obviously they remolded the chest here and the head's new, but I feel like the arms are pretty similar. They did add these pieces here on the side. The legs are pretty similar as far as I can remember. I don't really think there's anything different going on there. I did just notice this, though. You can see that this whole section is painted silver, and then over here, there's just like 2 silver stripes, and I'm wondering if that's something, like the original character, the original toy is painted like that. You can see it's, the molding is the same, but then they just painted the stripes here. But then this whole section is painted silver. So again, I don't know. I don't have the original, Rescue Bot toys, but I thought that was interesting. I think the head sculpt's pretty good. I think they did a nice job there. He's got a little bit of light piping going on there. But the goggles are great. I love the big giant jaws they give these guys. Autobot symbol here on the front looks nice. All of this silver paint here is good. You got the translucent blue and the white paint there. I think that all looks really sharp. He just has this little, somewhat ladder piece here on the back. That just pegs in. So you can see that the red peg just pegs into this spot right here. And then these 2 little nubs just kind of line up in the empty space. So if we pop this back on, you can see that they just kind of line up as you push that in. And then that just hangs out there on the back. He does come with 2 other accessories. So he's got this little translucent blue axe, as well as this translucent blue gun. So you can go ahead and just pop this into his fist. And then he just holds this one over here. They look okay. Not really that exciting, but they've been keeping with translucent accessories for all of the Rescue Bot guys. You can also store them back here. You see how there's 2 tab slots right there. So you can peg that tab in like that. And it's kind of cool. You can see how this top part fits underneath. So it's really nice and snug in there. Or you can take this one and tab it into the other side. So both of the accessories are storable there on the back. So articulation wise, head's on a ball joint. You can look up pretty good. Look down fairly decently. Can't really tilt side to side, but you can certainly look side to side, no problem. Ball joint's a little loose. It's not going to move around or anything like that, but it is a little loose. But I love the fire hat on there. I think they did a really nice job with that, and he's got the little badge there in the front. So that's pretty good. All the paint apps are pretty good. Again, except for I don't know if this is intentional or not. I assume it is, but I don't know. So this is, the way these connect in. Unfortunately, these kind of move around a little bit. But that's just because of the way it transforms. You do have a swivel here at the shoulder and a hinge out to the side. It's really tight, though, especially when you're trying to bring this arm back down. So I have to kind of hold that to get that back down because it's a really tight joint. I'm hoping over time, no, those are pins. I was going to say I could probably loosen the screws, but they're attached with pins, so you can't. But because of the fact that these kind of wiggle, like this piece here kind of wiggles because of how it connects, moving this can be a little difficult. But you have a bicep swivel there. Another really tight joint here at the elbow. But you can see you get a little bit past 90 because of the way it transforms. You do have a wrist swivel. You have a waist swivel here. Kick pretty far forward. Pretty far back. Pretty far out to the side there. Got a thigh swivel. Got slightly over 90 degrees there in the knee. And then you have some really nice ankle tilt. And a little bit of front to back as well. So pretty good articulation. Like I said, if you've handled Bulkhead from way back in Legacy, it's not very different. But it's different enough. I think he looks pretty good. So before we get on to transformation, gotta bring in his buddies. So we have Medic here. And Chase. So these are all three of the rescue bots that we've gotten so far. No idea if we're going to get the others. I feel like Medic is probably the one that I feel like kind of fits in the least, if I'm being honest, just because like he's got a traditional, like they just reuse the head sculpt there. These guys have the head sculpts that really look like the characters from the show, and Medic's just, I don't know. He looks fine. Colors are great. And it's fun to have three of them together here. But I feel like these two fit a lot better. Like this was kind of like, we'll just repaint this because we have this. These two, you know, yes, he's an extensive retool, but at least they gave him a new head. This guy, they could have just given him a new head. I think that really would have made him fit in a little bit more. Again, I'm not 100% familiar with the show. I never watched the show. I just see the toys back in the day at Walmart or wherever. They're pretty neat little toys. But yeah, so these are the three rescue bots that we have so far. They look pretty good together. Alright, so getting into transformation, I honestly, like I said, it's been such a long time since I've handled Bulkhead that I definitely remember a few steps, but some of these I didn't remember them being so difficult, and you'll kind of see what I mean as we go. So you kind of start off by just kind of getting these pieces out of the way back here, and then you want to unhook these shoulders from the torso here so that you can start to like unhook this and lift this up. But at the same time, you have to kind of like, and this can get a little annoying. So unhook this. Come on, come on. There we go. Okay, so it sticks a little bit. So while you have this up like this, you want to bring the head in and push that down like that. And then there's a little piece up here that's going to flip up and fill in this hole behind the head. Make sure you clear the head. And you have to kind of like push it up until it sits flush and fills in that area. Okay, that's all fine. Then you come down here with the arms. And you have to kind of like bring these down so that you can clear this empty space, because eventually this panel here is going to go down there. And the other thing I noticed, which is kind of weird, and I don't remember if this happened with Bulkhead or not, but I was having trouble getting this to close back up when I was going back to robot mode. And you can see like the little pieces here, they need to kind of like fit back into this section. And when it was closing, they weren't like, it was just a little bit where you can kind of see, and I'm probably not showing it the best, but you can see the empty cavity behind it. So they need to be able to fit in there, but they're kind of hitting the edge. And I don't know, I was really having difficulty with it. I was trying to like push it back to get it through. Just, I think over time, it's going to get easier because probably wear down this plastic a little bit. But just something to keep in mind. I was really having difficulty getting that to close back up for the robot mode, and I don't really know why. But anyway, these come down, and then what's going to happen, you can bring this up. These will come and peg into each other down in here, and that will snap together. And then you're going to fold up the elbows all the way. Like I said, it's a little bit over 90, and that's because they're going to rotate up and sit here on the sides of the head. And then this will come down and close over all that and kind of snap into place. So once you have that, now that this area, because you rotated those pieces down, now you can bring this piece down and that'll fit in there. So then we're going to unhook this. This is going to unhook, and then that will allow you to pop this out. You can see where the gray meets the red. So that's going to pop out. And then this is going to come all the way up. And then this should come down like this. You're going to take the legs. You can fold down the heel. Pop open the back. This little canister is going to pop out. You're going to rotate it around 180 and then bring it down and then close this back up. Then you want to bend this, not quite like a straight 90 degrees. You'll know when to stop because there's a tab underneath here. You can see it right there. And it's going to tab into the thigh right there. So when that lines up and pegs in, that's how you know, like I said, it's not quite the full 90 degrees. So that leg is ready to go. We'll do the same over here. Fold the heel in. This is going to open up. Pop this little canister out of here. Rotate that around. Bring it down. Close this back up. Start to bend this. Line it up. And then you can sandwich the two legs together like so. And then you'll bring this in. And these two tabs you can see right there and right there will tab in right there and right there. So this just comes in and then they sit right there. Okay. And then there you go. This just kind of sits like this. Bring these to about here. Then we're going to bring the ladder piece back in. Make sure you fold in the peg there. And then you can see there's two like notches right there. They're going to sit on these notches on the back of his thighs. So this just kind of goes on like that. They don't really like snugly connect in, but you can also see how there's kind of an indent right here. And that's for the feet. So you're going to bring the feet up. Now you want to get the foot to go over this and then rest in there. So you kind of hold this here. This comes up like that. And then do the same over here on this side. And that just kind of keeps that in place there. And that's it. You have Heatwave in vehicle mode. So I don't quite know how I feel about this, honestly. I think from the front, it looks great. From what I remember of the original toy, I think this looks really good. Like I said, I love the translucent blue windshield. I love the white outline for the windshield. It makes it really pop. I love that Autobot symbol there. All the paint here on the top and front. I think the front of this looks great. It feels like what it's trying to represent. And then the back here just looks like bulkhead. It doesn't really, like, I know what, you know, they're just using what they have. The ladder piece doesn't really feel like a ladder piece. Like, it doesn't make this feel like a fire engine. It just feels like, you know, hey, I had to throw a small piece of ladder in the back of my pickup truck because I need to go somewhere. Like, it just doesn't feel like a fire engine. I know what they're going for, you know. Does it convey it? Kind of, but it just doesn't. Like, I feel like if they could have done something where, you know, maybe like this piece could go down a little bit and maybe it could sit across the top or something, or maybe if they made this out of like a bright white, then it might be a starker contrast with the rest of this. I don't know. It doesn't really feel that much like a fire engine in this mode. It just feels like there's this panel on the back of this weird truck. Like I said, from the front, I think this is great. I think they nailed this front section of it. I really like the look of this. The back feels a little phoned in, if I'm being honest. It doesn't really roll that great because it's got all these like wheels that none of them are pinned. They're just kind of that like mushroom peg in there. And these are really tight because like the way it transforms. And I mean, maybe I don't have everything at the exact correct angle. That's very possible as well. It rolls a little bit better if I straighten it out a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like this was an okay mold back when it was Bulkhead, and I see what they've done here, but I don't know that the mold's really holding up all that well. I mean, I guess all the joints are really tight. I'll give it that. But yeah, I don't know. This one feels a little phoned in. Like I said, from the front, looks phenomenal. Love it. Nailed it. The back, you can attach the pieces here on the side, these accessories. So for this one, you could peg it in on the side here. Is that? No. I thought I could attach that. Maybe not. Okay, so you just have to pop it in like this. No, there was definitely... Hold on a second. Now I'm confusing myself. Let's switch these. Let's do this one on this side. That's what it is. I was like, I know I did this before. What am I doing wrong? So here we go. So you can store the accessories there on the side. It helps a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the accessories help a little bit, but it's okay. Okay, so real quick disclaimer, I'm an idiot. I just realized that the problem when I was trying to convert it back into robot mode was not the piece inside not wanting to drop in. You have to make absolutely sure that this piece right here clears this. So I was trying to push this down and this piece wasn't all the way up. I mean, there's a very narrow little spot. It has to be exactly right there. And I think the problem was I was trying to close it and it was just a fraction down. And then this piece was hitting into it. So it's my fault. It's a user error. We fixed it. We're good. Okay, so getting back to Heatwave here. I think he's fine. I don't love him. I don't hate him. I think the robot mode is better than the vehicle mode. So if you're just trying to collect the rescue bots, put them on a shelf in robot mode, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this guy. Because like I said, to me, his strongest features are what they did for the chest. Because I think they absolutely nailed that. It's molded nicely. It's painted beautifully. The head sculpt's fun. All of that. This little piece on the back as a ladder, I think works better for the robot mode because it kind of, you know, just gives the hint of the ladder on his back, which is all you really need. And just in vehicle mode, it's just not as convincing. So I think for robot mode, it's passable because it's just back there adding a little bit of character. I think that's fine. Everything here, the arms and the legs are fine. You know, they're red, they're silver. They can blend in. They're not as noticeable. So I think for robot mode, he looks fine. So if you just want to display him in robot mode, I think that's fine. Transformations, again, fine. Should be fairly used to it if you've handled Bulkhead at all. Can be a little annoying to get everything to kind of line up and clearance and everything like that as you're going through it. But 1 or 2 times, it's not too bad. I just think that vehicle mode's just not as convincing. The whole kind of back half of it just kind of feels like an afterthought. All the red is hidden in that mode, and so the front looks like what you're trying to convey, and the back just looks like a dark gray flatbed truck with a sad little ladder tossed on there. It just doesn't quite get the point across, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You know, if you guys love it, by all means. If you have a strong connection to Rescue Bots, you probably enjoy this more. As someone who didn't really grow up watching that show because it was a little after my time, I don't have the same connection to these characters. I've seen the designs. I like them. I remember the original toys, seeing them in the store. I thought they were pretty fun for what they were. And so, but I just don't have as strong a connection to the character. But I think the robot mode is fine. I think it's definitely the more successful of the two. Vehicle mode could use a little bit of work. But again, if you're just displaying it in robot mode, I think you'll be happy with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.